Behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. Now, what I see in this parable is Christ harmonizing duality. Now, what do I mean by that? It's quite a mouthful, harmonizing duality. Now, duality is often seen as, order and chaos, yin and yang, all of this type of thing, where there's separate existences or separate metaphysical truths that don't diverge into each other but are of dualism. But with this parable, I see it as Christ through symbology, psychic symbology, through virtuous moral action, merging duality together through the use of animal symbology, the dove and the snake. Because the dove and the snake can be seen as two things in which are very much the opposite. People see the dove as being the gentle, the caring, the empathetic, the compassionate, loving, caring creature, the bird, and the snake being often seen as the cunning, the trickster, the in this also the wise, but the very specific creature in which goes after its prey in a very different way as what the dove is symbolic of. But in this parable, Christ merges the two together and says, be as wise as serpents, as gentle as doves, or as innocent as doves. So he's merging two dualities together to create the ideal moral virtues that man needs to hold up within himself, to act into the world, to be the most ideal version of oneself. And I believe this is truly powerful, because even within the duality, even within recognizing the symbolic duality of the dove and the snake, still Christ within this parable recognizes the highest moral virtue of action within those two symbols. Because the dove has its yin and yang, it has its good and its bad, and the snake obviously has its good and its bad. But within that parable, he's highlighting the good in both of them. Because you could see this snake, the snake's good is wisdom, to be wise, to be discreet, to be very specific at what it's doing, it understands its own playground. But also, its dark side, you could say, is how it's a trickster, how it's very cunning, deceitful. It uses its wisdom for bad means in some way, and this is why the snake is often used as a symbol within the Garden of Eden, where it tricks Eve. But he doesn't highlight that part. He doesn't say, oh, you need to be that. He says, be wise as serpents. Not as cunning as serpents. Don't be deceitful as serpents, be wise as serpents. Now on the end of the dove, he says, be gentle as doves. Now this is, again, a very good moral trait, a virtue of gentleness. Because you cannot be gentle unless you cannot be wise unless you are gentle, and you cannot be gentle unless you are wise. These are two things which go hand in hand with each other, which is also very important to recognize here. But within gentleness, which is the morally virtuous, honorable aspect of the dove, the dark side of the dove, the yang, or the opposite within its own duality, is naivety. A dove can be very naive. Or if someone who's very, very gentle and is very compassionate towards the world, they can be at times very naive. They can forget about the evil within the world. They can, overlook things very easily and think that everyone has a good heart within them, when many times there are people who don't always have a good heart within them, and then they can be ignorant and naive and maybe give too much to someone who doesn't deserve it, and do all sorts with regards to something like that in that instance. The bad side of the dove is its own naivety. But it doesn't highlight the naivety. It highlights the gentleness. And to, in a sense, support that gentleness, it says to be wise as serpents. So therefore you have the perfect balance, the harmony of duality put together into one piece. And this is also referred to again in a different frame with the lion and the sheep, with two different animals who are complete opposites in existence of the natural world when it comes to evolution or prey and predator. But again, it harmonizes those two existences for man to uphold for a moral lens of action. And I find that very beautiful. I find that very, very powerful. And something that fascinates me a lot, because in a sense, it is Christ's and the Christian interpretation of the mandala. Or you could say the integration of the whole. Or in some sense, the self, as Jung would refer to it. Because it is bringing duality together in a harmonizing way, which when you really think about it is very beautiful and very powerful when you really contemplate on it. And that is why I think Christ is, through all of his parables, the most emphatic psychologist, or the one who truly understood the psyche of man, because the true ideal is within that, to be as gentle as doves but wise as serpents. Because if all of men were like that, then they would be truly integrated individuals. They'd be truly self-understanding, not only of themselves but of others, and they would have the discernment to support themselves and the people they love around them, but also be gentle in the most correct, caring way possible, but have strong discernment to be very directive and to have strong boundaries and to be very forthright with their actions. So I find that very, very interesting. I find that a very good psychological framework of a very good psychological pursuit for people as well, which is why I think Christianity is very, very powerful when you truly dig into some of the parables of Christ within the gospel from a psychological lens. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure to give it a like. Tell me what your thoughts are below. I did a very kind of similar post to this on Instagram, but this is kind of an extended version of for the video that I'm making right here. And of course, guys, if you are interested in any kind of coaching, one-on-one procrastination coaching, where I mostly go into things like accountability, habit, the formation of habits, psychology, if people are dealing with bad habits that they want to break, and of course things like shadow work, going into working through people's cognitive distortions, things of that nature. If you are interested in doing work with me, and also if you're interested in getting my free shadow journal notebook, make sure to sign up for the free link that are in the description, and of course sign up for a free call if you want to do any kind of work with me with regards to things to do with self-improvement, but also things to do with self-developmental work with regards to even aspects of business, whatever it may be, because I'm doing a lot of different things, and I have done a lot of different things with people over the past 5 months, as you can check with all the references and reviews from people from all around the world that I've done work with on a one-on-one basis. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure to give it a like, comment your thoughts down below, and I'll speak to you very soon in the next video.